Greetings, esteemed viewer. I am Trainer Nick, and I'm here for you tonight in my sexy Marvel Comics pajamas because I am really, really angry. I've been angry for a few days now, and I just really need to vent about this thing. So, the How I Met Your Mother finale premiered a few days ago. It was 5 days ago here, I think. And I am still so pissed off at this ending, and I'm here to tell you why. There has been a lot of fan backlash about this finale, and it's so understandable, okay? We're going to talk about it right now, in depth. And obviously this is going to contain spoilers, so if you don't want spoilers, if you want to go and watch it yourself, that's fine, just don't watch the rest of this video. Although, if you clicked on a video entitled, Why the Finale of How I Met Your Mother Sucked, and didn't expect, spoilers, there's something wrong with you. You're an absolute dingus, is all I can say. Okay, so the very first reason that I'm so mad about this finale is that it takes 7 years at least, but you could say 9 years of character development and plot lines and tears them down for no good reason. Especially Robin and Barney. We have spent the last 2 years watching Robin and Barney grow as characters, grow with each other, build this relationship to the extent that this entire last season has been about their wedding and them getting together. It's been a development for Barney, growing from the perverted lech that he was in season 1 to being a mature and understanding and acceptable husband for Robin, whereas Robin has realized many times throughout this last season why Barney is the man for her, why they are going to be perfect together, and everything else that makes them good in a relationship. But now, in a scene that is just flashed over in a montage, they suddenly decided to get a divorce because they're not working together. By the way, that's another big problem with this episode, well, these 2 episodes, is that everything is shown in just rapid flashing montage. They build up so many things, so many plot lines, that all brought in this 40-minute thing, all just flashed over in, like, montages, and it's just so badly done. It's terrible pacing, awful storytelling, and, because of the divorce, it ends up reverting their characters back to season 1. Barney goes back to being the psychopathic man-child sociopath who, is a complete legend, sleeps with everyone he possibly can. And Robin has this character crisis where she just stops hanging out with the gang for reasons that, are sort of explained but aren't very solid. And, this could have been a good character arc if they had developed it at all, instead of just saying, here's this arc, here it is, okay, now it's over, this is the end. And of course the show is called How I Met Your Mother, so let's talk about how Ted met the mother. They spent the last season introducing us to and developing the mother. They even gave her her own character-driven episode in How Your Mother Met Me, the 16th episode of Season 9. So by this point, we're actually invested in the character and not just the journey to find her. But does the finale give us any sort of, interaction between her and the rest of the group now that they're together? No! It skips over all that and basically makes her and Ted and Lily and Marshall background characters for this whole shebangle of nothing going on between Barney and Robin. I will admit that there was one very particularly good moment where Ted actually does meet the mother on the train station, which should have either been the beginning of the episode and leading to 2 episodes of them interacting, or it should have been the very end of the series. And kids, that's the story of How I Met Your Mother. Because it was a beautiful moment and should have stayed that way. But that's not where it ends, that's not how it stays, and this is where the finale does its absolute worst. Okay, so remember what I said before about how they just took 9 years of character development and threw it down the toilet? Well, for the last 9 years, the last 9 seasons of How I Met Your Mother, Ted has been the main character. He's the one telling the story, and he's had 2 arcs. Those arcs have been trying to find that one woman who is his absolute perfect love, the mother of his children, who will be his perfect love for the rest of his life, and at the same time, getting over his feelings for Robin. This season even had a whole episode devoted to how Ted got over his feelings for Robin and was able to move on. It's had so many instances of people telling Ted and Robin that they aren't right for each other and that they could never work. They've been building up to that going away. But guess what? It's revealed to us that the mother has actually been dead all along. Yeah, she's not alive, she's dead. Like, the whole time he's been telling the story, she's been dead for 6 years, and though that really would have been, you know, not a satisfying ending, I could accept it if Ted was telling this story to his kids as a way of saying, kids, this is how I met your mother. She was perfect to me, and, you know, I just wanted to honor her memory. But that's not why Ted is telling the kids this story. You want to know why Ted is telling the kids this story? He's telling the kids this story because that way he's hoping that they will give him permission to continue loving Robin. Fuck the 9 years of character development. Fuck everyone telling him to get over her. Fuck him actually getting over her. No, he still loves Robin. Kids, this is the story of how I met your mother, who was not actually the great love of my life. She was just the consolation prize because I didn't get to marry Robin. That's what this finale has been. And you know, not only is this not a fitting end to Ted's arc, it's not satisfying in any way to the end of the show, it's already explained through so many story reasons why this is not okay and why it doesn't work. For God's sakes, you've told us, you've hammered it into our heads. This isn't right, this isn't meant to happen. Why are you now all of a sudden in the finale changing that around and saying, no, it's perfectly fine? And you know, there are other problems with the finale as well. Like, Barney becomes a father at the very last minute, but that's completely glossed over, so that's not really worth mentioning. Lily and Marshall are going to have a third baby, but again, that's just mentioned in passing and is not worth talking about, completely glossed over. And you'll notice that I haven't really spoken about Lily and Marshall. And that's because, you know, they actually don't get destroyed in this finale. Granted, their character development hit its peak many seasons ago. There wasn't much for them to tear down, but, you know, they have had a consistent characterization. And the payoff for them not being torn down in character development is that they sort of get pushed to the side and are really just there. This whole show has been about this 5-man band of Ted, Robin, Barney, Lily, and Marshall. This is the 5 characters that should have been important in this finale. Instead, none of them are. And all in all, it's just not how you should end such a good run of television. I will admit that the last few seasons were in declining quality when compared to the first few seasons, but they were not this level of terrible. Last year, Dexter ended, and its finale was also awful, but the last 4 seasons of Dexter were awful, so, you know, it wasn't such a sharp drop, it was a decline. And what makes me most angry is that I feel like I had invested some emotional things into these characters, into these plots. I had been watching this show for 9 years. And they just go and completely destroy it. I feel betrayed, actually, and disgusted. So, you know, I've gotten that out. I do feel better now. Please, you know, comment, like, subscribe, all that other YouTube stuff. I do want to know what you thought. Do you agree? Do you disagree? If you disagree with what I've said, though, I really need to know your reasoning, because that was awful. So, you know, down below, like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. I am Trainer Nick, and I will see you next time. Bye!